This episode is sponsored by SKS Luxury Appliances. If you've spent time around Signature Kitchen Suite, one thing designers notice right away is the technology. The interface feels familiar and intuitive because it's the same engineering that comes from LG, the company that produces the systems used in many of the luxury vehicles people drive today. Clients recognize it instantly and know how to navigate it, but SKS is also investing in designers through their Designer Rewards program and by sponsoring IDC. If you're specifying kitchens for serious cooks, give SKS a look. Learn more at sksappliances.com. SKS, built for people who truly love cooking. Hi, I'm Laurie from Interior Design Community for To The Trade, and this is Nile with me. Hi, Nile.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. Good. How about you?
We got snow this morning. Again. I
Wait,
know.
what?
It's crazy. It's been snowing all morning. We've gotten probably, I want to say,
Well, I can see it out the window.
an
That's
inch already.
insane.
I know. We're like, what is this? Why? We're in New Hampshire. So it's not
But you
sticking
know,
on the roads, but it is sticking on the driveway and all the fun things. So it'll be melted by tomorrow. But geez, I'm just so over it. My tulips were already coming up. I'm like seeing the end of the tunnel and I'm back at it.
I think they were predicting it for Philly too, honestly. Some like late this week when we were away on spring break in Vegas, we got that word and we're like, do we go back home or do
Do
we
we?
stay
Do
here?
we? And we have Jill Erwin with us. We're so excited because Jill and I have known each other a long time, part of interior design community, since pretty much one of the beginning members. So, Jill, just let everybody know who you are and explain your business a little bit.
Sure. Well, my name is Jill Erwin, and I have just rebranded as
Yay!
just Jill Home. And the reason being, I just hit 20 years in business.
Wow,
So
congratulations.
Yeah.
thank you very
Woo-hoo.
much. Yeah, I know. Woohoo! I made it. In a business that can be sometimes hard, especially when I started back in 2006. That was one of the worst times you could possibly start, but
Yes.
I made it through. And, so now I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty full of confidence right now. And, I know who I am, and I'm confident in the person and the work that I do now. So, needless to say, bring it on.
Yes. I love it.
Nice.
I love it.
Nice.
I think that that is something that I was just on a podcast a while ago and someone asked, I was the guest, which was weird. Was weird, but someone asked me if what I thought interior design community was. And I really think that's the key is that we want to get people to that moment of knowing who you are, what your position is in the community and what you're doing and making a profitable business faster. That's ultimately what IDC is all about is trying to get people there so that they can charge what they need to charge to make a living. And it's like we can so honestly get that pushback. Creatives get it all the time. It's not just designers, like artists who are told like, "Oh, can't you just do it for free?" Or "That's so pretty. Can I just have it, as a gift?" And it's like, "No. I
You can't.
If you care about me, do you want me to be able to pay my own bills too?" Like even friends and family. I tell designers all the time, your friends and family being your first clients, that's great, but they should be paying. Like if they're your friends and family, don't they have more vested interest in you being able to pay your bills than anyone else? I mean, you'd hope that they would want to support you. When I go to my sister's restaurant, which is often, I pay full price and I would never want to pay less than full price because I'm supporting her business. In fact, I overtip, I overdo because I'm supporting her. That's what I want is to be supporting her. So I love that you said that because but it shouldn't take 20 years to get there, right?
You got that right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what was a big lesson that you learned along the way that got you there? That got you the moment that where you're like, I love my work. I know who I am. I know what I want to do. What got you there?
Well, I hate to admit this for the younger designers because really experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until you've worked it and you know what you're dealing with. Can't really know until you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So life experience is definitely one. And I admit I have played around with my numbers and I have played around with those. Oh, sure, I'll do this for you. But you know what? what does that say about me? I'm giving away my education, my experience, and I'm done with that. No
Yeah.
more.
And it hurts the entire industry too. Because I mean, if you're not valuing your work, then the next designer down the road who's bidding against you, sometimes you even if you are undercutting, you lose the job because they don't, somebody with money doesn't trust you at that level. And secondly, like, you're hurting the industry and what the value of design should be. There are always going to be those people who want it for nothing. I just was watching a video this morning of someone in the construction side, and it was her calling to get someone to pay invoices. And he said, well, I don't know why you're calling me. You should call my wife. You're a woman. You should just call my wife and deal with that. I don't know why you're calling. It was wild. I was like, this is nuts. But it's, the kind of crazy things that our designers deal with on the daily basis too. Part of my immediate thought was, why did you let $127,000 be past due? Why did you not stop work before that needed to be collected? Like, you should not be doing the work until you can't let 8 invoices totaling $127,000 collect. You should stop work if you're not being paid. You should not be outpouring any money for product until it's been paid to you. So, I mean, these are lessons learned by so many designers, that we work with over the years. I have heard it all, as you can imagine. And I'm sure all of you have done it all. It's like, it's so hard in the beginning to not be the bank for your clients, because you just are like, I just want the business so bad. I just want the photography so bad. I just want the experience so bad that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get it. And I'm trying to counsel designers that come through IDC not to do that, because it's not worth it for you. You're not actually going to get anything out of it. There's all these little carrot opportunities, I call them, where they're like, if you do this, you'll get this. And how often does that even ever happen? How often do you actually get the big extra projects that they're promising, or they're going to send you 1 million referrals, or they're going to help you in some big way? How much, it never happens. It never actually comes into fruition. It's very, very rare that someone gives you that carrot and then it actually ends up actually helping you down the road. So I love that you are sticking to your guns. I love it. I love
Not
it.
gonna lie, it took a long time for me to be that way, but
Yeah.
it's funny because personally, I am totally that way.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
but when it comes to, your work, like you just said, you want to please others. You want
Yeah.
to get your foot in the door. When you do that, I found that it actually did hurt me,
Yeah.
because people do think, oh, well, I can just ask her and she'll come over. With many like friends, and it's hard. As a matter of fact, I try not to work with many people that I do know now, which is kind
Yeah.
of hard because I think, I know a lot of people, but
Yeah.
still, one of the things I love is meeting new people and hearing their story, because to me, that's what I enjoy
Yeah.
and what I love giving back to the client.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we're missing that in our sales effort too. And I talk about that at Design Edge when I teach a little bit, is that there are so many clients out there, I think, that would value design if they really truly understood what we do. And
yeah.
so much of that is like, really, I didn't even really know it until I came into this industry, like what designers really do. I was judging it based on HGTV like everyone else, thinking that is design, like the design is this like quick thing, and that it's just like this creatives, and it has ups and downs where some of it you like and some of it you don't. I mean, how many of these like shows did we watch where we're like, oh, that's the end result, like, and it feels like such a gamble to some people when they don't know the industry. But if you know the industry, it's very difficult for a client or designer, I think, to really go off the rails and create something that is, I mean, those are entertainment shows. They're not really about what the process of design really is at all. It's really not reflective of what a designer does. A designer, and I was just talking to someone on social yesterday, and we were kind of in a debate about furniture. And I said, if you're buying from like a Restoration Hardware, or you're paying for the marketing that comes along with that, and you're not getting the quality of the product. And he's like, well, what's the difference between paying for the markup from a Restoration Hardware versus paying for the markup that the designer's going to put on that? And basically intimating that designers will try to find the products that make them the most money versus the right product for the project. And I was like, I just don't believe that at all. I never see a designer pick the wrong thing. In fact, 9 times out of 10, they'll pick the right thing, even if they make nothing on it, because it's the right thing for the project. I don't see that ever, because your calling card is your photography. So it has to be good stuff. And you're obsessive about quality. You look at every little thing in
Every
the
detail.
piece,
Every detail. That's
every detail.
Yes.
The inside, the outside, every finishing piece, like the fabric, will it wear? You have a million questions you're thinking about when you're thinking about that. I was kind of floored that that's what he equated it to. And I feel like it's the same as if you go to a restaurant and you go to one of the big chain restaurants, and they're trying to maximize, because they're a big corporation, how much profit they can make per person sitting down. And because of that, they have this big buying power, and they make sure that they're buying garlic at the cheapest price possible. They're buying pasta at the cheapest price possible. And there's that threshold of like what the clients will accept versus the quality of the product. But they're always trying to maximize profit. Whereas you go to a little hole in the wall, kind of like family owned high-end restaurant, everything is about quality and experience. And they charge appropriately for that quality and experience. And you're getting more for your value, because you're not everything has been value engineered to make the most profit out of everything that you're trying there. And that's not to say that there isn't a model where that person who's trying to obviously have a small business isn't trying to make money. Obviously they are. Everyone is in a business to make money and to support themselves. But like, wouldn't you rather give to that person who is like, it's going directly to a family, it's going directly to a person, than someone who's just value engineered an experience for you at the cheapest price cost of products to give you the minimum that you would accept to accept that pricing structure? I mean, I just don't get it. I don't understand why anyone would argue with that. It just seems so crazy to me. But I think we have a lot to do as far as a community of people to teach what it is still. Do you get frustrated with that? Do you both get frustrated with that?
Totally, Laurie. I tell you, that's one of the reasons why, I'm so into everything that you write on social media and the IDC, because first of all, I love your humor. I'll say that. But because you kind of have to have a good sense of humor and a strong backbone, I tell you what, in this industry, and support. That's one thing that you and I have spoken about that I don't feel like we have much. We do have a lot more than we did 20 years ago. I
Sure.
tell you what, it was pretty cutthroat when I started.
I was after you started. So I came in around 2012. I feel the same way. I think that the stories I've heard were brutal. They were really brutal, like on how people would treat each other, how designers would treat other designers.
Yes.
It was
And
bad.
really bad. And I'm from Richmond, Virginia, born and raised. So I'm a Southern girl, and feel like when I talk to people, I don't know, feel like I'm a kind person, and when I ask you something, you should tell me the answer and tell me straight. Tell it to me straight. But back in those days, I feel like I would join certain groups, networking groups, but everybody would be like, give me some like, oh, she's just a little girl. She doesn't know what she's doing. I'm not going to help her. And that was tough. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
really tough.
Yeah.
And so I went and I interned a few places, and I had a wonderful lady that I worked with, and she goes to my church, and we still speak often. And it's wonderful when you have somebody that will build you up and give you that confidence, because when you're just getting out of college, first of all, you do think you own the world and you are, have that confidence. But once you get out there and you start realizing, maybe I don't have it.
Yeah, yeah. I can absolutely see how that can happen. And it takes your like all that power that an enthusiasm that a new person in the industry has. And instead of treating it like a little seedling that we have to like water and protect and get it to flourish, we're trying to stomp it out to see if it can survive. I mean, we would be so much better off if we would be flourishing those new people that are coming into our industry every year and giving them like really good solid information, and really helping them because we are stronger together. I think that's been proven now over and over again. We are stronger as a community thinking about these problems together and figuring out how we can gain more market share and how we can help one another and how we can make this industry better. Because there are, I tell you before, I think I've done the math on this, like for the 1% alone, which I think our market is between the 1% and the 20%. The 1% alone, there's enough projects in the United States for every designer in America to have 7 projects a year if every single person in the 1% hired an interior designer. And that's not the rest of that group. How can we get more people who go to fine dining, go buy luxury experiences, go on luxury vacations, obviously appreciate quality of design around them at all times? They're paying for the first class flights. They're staying in nice hotels. They're going to the high-end restaurants. How can we also get them to invest in their own house that they're spending the most amount of time in? So that's just as beautiful as the rest of the things that they're enjoying out there in the world. How do we get more of those people to think that that's important?
Trying to crack that code. I'm trying to crack that code.
Yeah, yeah. I think we all, but I think it can't be one of us. I think it has to be us thinking about this as a collective problem and thinking how we can do that. How can we band together with the products that we offer too? Because those people are going to Ashley Furniture. They're going into Home Depot. They're going into, at the higher end, Restoration Hardware and Pottery Barn and buying the full set, right? I mean, that's what they're doing instead of what we have to offer. And you can always tell when it isn't. I mean, I've been into some projects where, and I don't mean this to be a negative thing because I think this person is just starting out too. And I'm just telling you in the same breath that I said, we need to not be gatekeepers to saying this. But when the builder has a wife that's a designer and she's maybe has another job also, like she's an accountant and she's also the designer for his project. And you walk in and it's like, okay, what is going on here? And you're like, this is a job that obviously didn't value the design process. And you can tell immediately.
Yeah.
You can tell that
Yeah.
it looks like a bunch of stuff. And it's not bad. It's not terrible.
It's not good either.
It's not good either. Exactly. Yeah. It's not like, you can tell that there were some bad choices made that are not going to have longevity, are not going to, that people are going to get tired of fast, or that it doesn't feel cohesive. It doesn't work, for whatever reason. I can spot that in a second now. A trained eye of looking at design for as long as I have at this point, I can go, ooh, they made major mistakes here. There's a million of them. And I feel like that's another thing that designers are doing every day is you're making it so the clients that are buying from you, that design lasts longer for them, that it's worth more money when they sell the home, and that's one of the things that I'm like, a sticking point for me with designers is like, you're giving away your own equity in your life. When you give a discount, when you break that price down, when you don't charge what you should be charging, you're giving your own equity, the money that could go in your retirement account, the money that could be paying off your mortgage earlier, sending your kids to a better school, whatever that might be. You're giving that away to your client, because at the back end of it, you're doing this, you're killing yourself. You're doing so much work, working 17-hour days. And that's staying at that they own that now. At the end of it, you don't own that house, and it becomes part of their investment portfolio of products, and of investments that they can sell down the road. And I would love to, as a study, track it. I would love to like get a bunch of designers and start tracking. I've tracked it on a small level, but I'd like to expand it where we like look at projects over the last 10 years and how much value the designers have made for their clients. Because I've seen a whole lot of houses sell like fully furnished that designers did.
For sure.
Or like sell in one day. Or I hear the
Yeah.
stories over and over again. Like it sold fully furnished one day. You know, that's used furniture. You know what I mean? That's how good that designer was, that it sold fully. If it sells fully furnished, you know, that designer did an amazing job, because who's really buying used furniture out there for those prices? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or even if it doesn't sell fully furnished, it just sells.
Yeah.
You know, there's
It's
multiple
in
of the
it sells
same
in a
home.
24-hour period
It's
too. Like,
yeah, yeah. And it helps because the client can walk in and see, oh my gosh, I can see the vision, or I can see myself here. And even if it's not their taste, it's just
yeah.
put together so beautifully that it helps
Sure.
them make the choice. Yeah.
Yeah, I could tell. So we bought a house that was designed. I'm not a designer, as you know. So we bought a house that was designed, and I could tell it was professionally designed the moment I walked in. I was like, and I have friends that their houses cost more than mine, or they are cost about the same as mine. And they come over and they're like, you have the you have the nicest house. And I always tell them, it's like, I just have a good eye for design because of what I watched with you. And it's not like I am doing this. It's just that I can spot it. I can spot when someone put that time and effort into these thoughtful little decisions. You guys are just amazing to me. You know, you always are thinking like the next
Always.
level. And that's the thing I don't think people know that you do, is like you're playing chess in this way that is, you're thinking about 5 steps ahead of a normal human being. Is what I
I have
think.
a funny story, if I may share.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I have a 21-year-old daughter getting ready to graduate from James Madison University. And
Congratulations.
oh, well, thank you.
Congratulations.
I know. I'm very, very proud of her. But here recently, I was there visiting for the Red Dress Gala. It was so funny because she took me over to some of her friends' house that I have known since, really grammar school. But when I walked in, because I've seen them progress from the dorm to I'm talking boys, to the fraternity houses, and now to their own homes. And I walk in, and I'm not gonna lie, within usually the first 30 seconds, 60 seconds, I have rearranged the whole house, a whole room. I had, oh gosh, I really want to tell them. I can't stand it. You know what? My daughter Grace can see it when I'm doing it. I'm like scanning the room, and
I love
and
it. I
so
love it.
they had a sectional, which I'm just gonna say it. I'm not a fan of sectionals. I never have been, because when you have a sectional, it's like one way, the only way, and that's it. It's like a love seat. What do you do with it when you don't have the 3 pieces? I just don't like. But this one, sometimes you can maneuver them and do different things. So when I walked in and I saw that L-shaped sectional, I said, and Grace said, "What are you thinking, mommy? What do you want to do?" So luckily I know the boy, and I said, "Listen, I'm sorry, but I just got to say it. You need to turn this sectional on the other side and put it in the corner of the room so that you can have all this free space for you to stand, because we're standing there in a narrow walkway from the doorway. I'm like, you've got 10 people standing right here. Just think if you had the whole room and then the sectional was on this side." And he was like, "Oh my gosh, wow, I never would have thought about that."
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, "Well, do it."
That is you are telling the story that, that's exactly what I think interior designers do. They're thinking how you use the space. They're not, the pieces come later, right? In your thought process. If you're starting in a project and you're looking at the walls and the space plan, like this is the layout of the rooms, the very first thing you're thinking is how people are navigating that space. Isn't that right?
For sure.
Yeah. It's not about the furniture. It's not about the colors. It's not about the style direction. It's like, okay, how do you, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, how does that client navigate the space? Like, and it's different, right? For each client. Like, I'm not a coffee drinker. My husband is. So how he navigates his morning is different than how I navigate my morning because he's got the ritual of making coffee every morning. And he's like a big, like, grind the beans guy, do the whole thing. So having a space for that in the way that he is doing it without annoying me, so his coffee grinds aren't everywhere and taking up all the space is, that's a design challenge. That's something that
It
you
definitely
would
is.
be
And I
thinking
love that
about.
you actually brought up coffee
Yeah,
because with another client, one thing that I love in my business, I like to repeat, come back. Let's say you have young children. Well, here recently, like last year, it was nothing but repeat clients for me. And
I
it
love that.
warmed my heart to say. And so with that being said, though, when we started 15 years ago, she had 3 young boys, but now they are all graduating from college, and now it's empty nest time.
Yeah.
So now it's time for them. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
let's get back in and let's think about you, not them, not anybody else, but you and what makes you happy. So you talked about coffee. They're big coffee drinkers. And so what I did, I throughout their kitchen, we redid their kitchen. And you know what? I used their existing cabinetry. It was still good wood. I mean, the bones of it was great. So I just repainted it and we redid the backsplash and whatnot. But they had this whole just blah wall off to the side. Nothing on it, nothing being used. And I thought, how about we create a little coffee station for you? So that's what I did. And I went to my cabinet makers and we did, it was a white kitchen, but since this was off to the side, I brought in a little bit of navy blue.
Oh, I
And
like
so
it.
it looked so good. Yes, indeed.
Oh
And we
wow.
did navy blue cabinetry with an opening where I had their Keurig. I had pull out drawers for those little things that you put in the K cup
Odds, yeah.
and all the things that they wanted. And then also, I even incorporated like a little, what do you call it? A bistro table right in front because I wanted to make it kind of like a coffee house or, a little Starbucks in their home and a place where they can retreat, drink their morning coffee, and take a breath.
Yeah. And I guarantee you when you create these spaces so that they are comfortable and that they feel like there's that moment, people
Yeah.
spend more time in them. Like, it's crazy to
Yeah.
me. The space that ends up not used at all becomes a space people use every single day because you're
Yes.
inviting them to spend that time in that
That's so
space.
true. I tell
Sure.
clients that all the time. They're like, "We don't use this room." I'm like, "Yeah, but wait till we finish." I'm like, "You don't
Exactly.
use it. You don't use it now, but wait till we're done, and you'll
Yeah.
you'll use it. You will
You'll use
definitely
it if
use
it
it."
feels
Yeah.
right, right? If it
Yeah.
feels like it's doing something for you,
Exactly.
you use it. We had a very non-functional in our last house dining room. And so, and this sounds gross because it was gross. We had little kids and we would eat in the living room all the time. We just would. We
No.
would
Yeah, I
take
get it.
It's real life.
it just like we would see that dining room and go, ugh, and we just go because it was a little
Yeah.
bit the table was a little too big for it. You had to go around the other side to get to the other seating. So it was a little awkward. And we would eat dinners there if it was like Sunday dinner or if it was like a holiday. But we did not eat dinner on the regular there, which made everything else disgusting because little kids with food in the living room is nasty.
It's real
But
life.
it
It's
just
what we
that's
do.
life, right? I mean, it's just how we navigate the space is depending on how we feel about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a
So
big believer
true.
of eat-in kitchens, by the way. I just think I'd rather have an eat-in kitchen than a dining room any day of the week. I just think that they function better. Like, I'm already in that room with food. Why would I want to go to a different room with my food when I
Hey,
am already there?
I love a bar area where that if you are in a hurry, you can sit down in the kitchen and sit and eat rather than going to a separate area.
I like a banquet because I've always been a booth girl. I love
Love
a
it. It's
booth
my
in the
favorite.
restaurant. So I love a banquet. I think it's like the best thing in a kitchen that you can possibly have. Because you can fit a ton of people if you have bench
Totally.
seating and regular seating as well around a table. You can just like maximize the seating. You can have as many people as you want sitting there.
You really I don't even know how to say it, but that is a true love of mine. I love it when you have the large bay window and then you can put the little banquette in, or, if you do have a L shape, there's one that I absolutely love, hickory chair. Gosh, they do it so well. And every time I go there, I always just go and sit in it saying, one day I'm going to have one of these in my own home. Yeah.
Of that, I have a question. I ran into a designer who didn't know at Design Edge that you could buy some of the furnishings really deep discounted at the show. And she didn't know ahead of time, which of course you can. A lot of times we don't want to move it back. So if you are at a trade show, they want to sell it to you and get it off the floor. And that happens at High Point too. I mean, of course, there are some brands that have more permanent installations at High Point, but there are some that come in and then they're gone. So they get rid of a lot of inventory. You knew that, right? You guys both know that's the thing.
I didn't know that that was a thing everywhere. I just knew
It's not
about
everywhere.
like,
Most places.
yeah, I knew that was
They're,
a thing with certain showrooms.
yeah.
But the showrooms I knew, it was like you have to get to them, like the ones I know of, you have to like literally get to them like, I don't know, Wednesday night, like as they're taking the plastic off, because literally if you go when they cut the ribbon to what, like they're like, oh, sold, 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 sold.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
there's somebody backing up a truck Tuesday
Yeah.
morning, like,
Yeah. It's true.
so yeah,
There's a lot of
yeah,
high competition for it.
yeah, yeah,
The pricing differences are like she was mentioning a banquette that was $4,000 that she already had ordered. There was one there for $400. So that's the
yeah, yeah.
pricing. I was like, you wait till Design Edge comes to Boston. You
I'll
wait.
take that. I'll take that. I'll take that.
I'm coming with a U-Haul.
Bring the truck.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm sure there are a lot of designers who are starting out. I just wrote an article about High Point. I was like, oh man, we've got to talk about all the things that I like, but ways to navigate it so that you're maximizing your time and you're actually having a good time. So I wrote all the things that I think are good tips about High Point because I'm going to put that out there. Let's talk about pricing because this is the thing that designers struggle with the most. And I feel like, Jill, you've 20 years in business. You've seen it all. Where did you start and where are you now? Do you do hourly? Do you do flat fee? How does that work for your business?
Well, I'm so happy you brought this up because this is one thing that I feel like designers and the panels that I go to at High Point and other places, we don't discuss it. I mean, we
No.
do, but nobody
We don't.
actually
Not in
says
concrete
the
way.
number.
It drives me
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, but the number, just say
Yeah.
it.
Just say the
Yeah.
number.
Say your number, please, because I feel like it almost should be more of a tiered system where, again, it's definitely where you live, demographics. I mean, it's going to be higher in New York and LA than it is in Richmond, Virginia, or wherever in the middle of the country. But still, that number is very difficult. And one of the things that I incorporated, I actually started this 10 years ago, where I love my little sayings. People know me for just little quick sayings. They're called my short and sweet and my quick and fast.
I love it.
And the reason why I started this was because, you mentioned those clients that just you take and you're like, I don't know, I'm getting a bad feeling, but I need the money. And so
Yeah.
I do it. And, but I've learned, don't do that. Don't do that. Because when you get that feeling, there's a reason why. And so I did do that. And so that's why the short and sweet and quick and fast was started. The quick and fast is my 2.5 hour. It's basically my introductory rates. And then my short and sweet is 5 hours. And so with that being said, I don't know about you and other designers, but when I walk into someone's home, think about it. 1 hour is just you walk around the house. I mean, if that, usually it's even more than that, and then I go home, I put together my thoughts. And in the beginning, what I do is basically just make a list of things that I think that the client needs to do. And that's basically just from me listening to them, walking around their home, and then giving my honest input. Then I come back after 2.5 hours and say, okay, this is what I think. And if I'm getting a good feel from them, I'll say, well, we can continue on to the short and sweet, which is my 5 hours, and give you a little bit more information. But from then on out, I move into a contract because you have to protect yourself.
Ugh.
I mean, you have to have a contract no matter what.
No matter what.
no matter what. And it needs to be ironclad because somebody will always find a way to get to that little bit that you left out.
Yes.
So I've learned that. That's another panel I would love to have. Straight contract for every designer.
Yeah.
It should be that way. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I know ASID and different ones, programs, you know, have some that you can use, but still,
I don't think they're that good. I mean,
I
I've
don't think
heard
it's that
bad
great
things
either. I
about
have added so many more things,
Yeah.
mainly pictures. You know, I've had projects where I will work and I'm so excited and I want to take pictures for you know, a magazine or just myself, and they're like, yeah, no pictures. We don't want that.
Did
Well,
you
then
see the thing that was happened this week? I haven't done the video on it. Did you both see this, the viral thing that went out? There was an influencer and she worked with an interior designer to design a kitchen. The kitchen was $45,000, which, as you know, is not a very high-end kitchen. It's
no.
just a
No, I was
middle of the
like,
road sort of kitchen.
wow.
In the designer's contract, it said, if you do not allow me photography, I think very reasonably $300 fee for not letting me photograph the space.
Wow, that's it. Wow.
And the designer made a video terrorizing this poor, I mean, the influencer made a video terrorizing this poor designer, that like with pulling all the heartstrings because she had been stalked, you know, so she's like, my home is my sanctuary and my privacy. Now, the reason I say pulling out the heartstrings is because she videos herself in her house like all the time. Like, I don't understand why the designer sharing the photographs is a huge violation of her privacy, but her videotaping herself in her house all the time is not. That just didn't make sense to me. But I thought $300 was a nominal like fee. In fact, probably more of an indicator of, are you an asshole? Are
Yeah.
you someone I don't want to do business with because you're a problem? So that fee is in there for me to figure it out.
Yep. Yep.
More than it is a loss of opportunity fee, because she's going to lose a lot more than $300 by not getting photograph of, you know, potentially like 6 months of her work, you know, and not as a high-end kitchen at all. So, but she was like, I'm an influencer. I'm not getting a discount for this kitchen. So why should I allow you to utilize my kitchen for your content? Because she's seeing that through the lens of, I'm an influencer, right? But this designer was really being roasted. I think this video got like 10,000, 20,000 views or more than 20,000 views. I think over 100,000 views. So 20,000 likes, things like that. So I felt bad for that design. I felt really, really bad for that designer. And I got sent the video by several people and tagged in the video sent by several designers because, of course, they were like, look at this lady. Because most of the comments, unfortunately, were really horrible impression of what designers are and do and how they're taking advantage. It just was really, really a negative video about the industry. But I was just saying, you know, this isn't like a high profit at $45,000. It's not a high profit job for the designer. And the 300, you know, part of our way to translate what we do is obviously photos. Like that's how you can say, and you would want that, right? You wouldn't want an AI version of those of those photos. You'd want really like, this is the work I've fully done. This is what I know how to do. Here's my example of that. And the fee being there isn't so that you can get a discount for content. The thing is, here's my thing, because I do, you know, work with brands a lot. And so they make you show your past work and what your numbers are also. So that's the part that I was like, she's being a bit of a hypocrite, because I guarantee you she in the back end is showing her clients when she gets brand deals what her numbers are and who is liking her posts. And she's monetizing her channel. So she's fully giving that information when it makes her money, but she doesn't want people that she works with to be making money. You know, it just felt very dirty to me. And that's another reason why there's this impression that designers are taking advantage of people. And I don't understand it. I was like, if anything, you all take advantage of designers. That's not the experience I know of any designer. There's no fat cat designer going, ha ha ha, I made so much money from my client.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, they may look like they're rolling in it because they're stylish people. But a lot of times behind the scenes, they're like, how do I make some money here? You know? And I love that you said that you have to keep this contract so tight because everyone will take advantage of you. People don't see your point of view and often are really thinking, they really think that designers are trying to take advantage of people in some weird way. And it's so opposite of what I know of every designer I talk to. They work, I wish clients, if there was one thing I could like magic wand, I wish clients would understand how much a designer cares. Like if you hire an entire designer, it is my belief that person cares more about that project than any other person on that job and really
Yeah.
wants it to be successful and really
Yeah.
wants to deliver you a life-changing experience, you know?
I totally agree. I love that you're saying that because I've had some, issues along the way. And what you said is, I care. I do care. And I want this to
Deeply,
be great,
right?
not just for you. I mean, for me, but for you.
Exactly.
My pictures, I want that flow we were talking about.
Yeah.
I want you to enjoy going into every room that you go into.
And sometimes it's the little things that they don't know that are a problem. Like you mentioned in that beginning where you're standing with 10 people close to each other because the room is set up awkwardly, but that person doesn't know that it feels awkward because of the space planning. But so much of what design is solving these problems and they don't see. I feel like people don't see what that is. Like I don't think they can put a price tag on when you walk through the space. Okay, now it's not a crowded weird area where you're like irritated because you design is a lot of things you don't see. That's what I think. Ultimately, it's 90. I think most people think design is like the beautiful sofa, the rug, the fabrics, the drapes, like all those things. But I think design is when you walk by a table and it doesn't hit your hip. Oh, you're not going to the side to try to squeeze by it, or you are entertaining your people and everyone has a place to sit and has a place to put a drink. That's what design is. It's not the fabrics and everything. It's that the space is utilized in the best possible way for the way you live. That's what design is.
I love
So,
that you're bringing that up because
ugh,
I
it's
love sharing.
irritating to me. It's irritating to me, as you can tell, because I'm online all day long. So I hear all the shit that comes out of like people's mouths about it. And I'm just like,
My geometric shapes. And what you just said about I've had so many bruises in my hips or my shins or whatnot from going by a table. So many people know I love round, I love circular things because when you have something like that, you're not going to bang into those corners. And so always think about that when you're in a walkway to, have something more round or, not a hard, sharp corner because it's going to happen. It's going to happen no matter what. And then on the last note that you said about my main thing is listening to the client because not too long ago I did some work up in Annapolis and they have a very large family and we had redone their family room and side, I will say, screen and porch. And so, but with that being said, going back to the sectional thing, they had talked about that and they're like, well, we all want to sit together. I'm like, well, really? Now, when was the last time you went and sat on a sectional right beside somebody? Especially after COVID days, that's the last thing I want. I don't want to sit beside anybody. And also, how are you going to talk to them? Like, oh, hey, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't want that. So when I thought about planning this room, if you can believe it, I not only had a full-on sofa, but I incorporated 7 chairs within
Wow.
large space. It was a family. They had older gentlemen all the way down to young grandchildren. So what I did in the beginning of the room was a large bay window. So I put 2 recliners there that don't look like recliners, by the way, but I had them upholstered and beautiful. And then from there, I had the sofa. I did a round, large leather ottoman so that not only they could use it as an ottoman, which I love multifunction, but think about it. They can move it around the room. They can use it as a seat for the little grandchildren, or they can
Mhm,
put
mhm.
puzzle on it or a game and play, you know. on the large ottoman. Now, from that area, I am known for my swivel chairs. I
I love
love
a
swivel
swivel.
chairs.
Oh,
They're
yes.
favorites, and it has to be just right. So I did 2 swivel chairs, mimicking the recliners because they're in the center of the room. Now, well, a little further back. And this way, I always say, well, you can swivel to the left and swivel to the right, all the way around because they have a beautiful view of the Potomac and the Chesapeake Bay. And so from there, my swivels, but then we have the wall of windows. So what I did, I have names for everything, as you can see. I called them my pickup chairs, where I had 2 chairs back behind the 2 swivels with a large walkway in between. But this way, the pickup chairs were looking at the Chesapeake Bay. But guess what's
Mm,
with those pickup chairs? You can pick them up and move them into a more conversation area with around the ottoman and playing a game or whatnot. And then there was a dead corner off to the side where I'm always like, to me, that's one of my favorite spots. I love to create little fun areas and corners. So my client loved the Alice in Wonderland. And so I found this chair and it was just a tall wingback,
nice.
but it was smaller in scale. That's another one, scale. People always have to remember scale. But it reminded her of Alice and Alice in Wonderland. So I
Aw.
put the smaller scale wingback into the corner, and we called that chair Alice. It was the Alice chair.
Aw.
That way, we had 7 chairs, a full-on sofa, and an ottoman, all within one room, and it gave a place for everyone in the family to sit.
Like, I mean, that's what you've described exactly what designers are really thinking about. It's like, how many people are there? Are you going to be regularly having over? Can you sit everyone? Can everyone have a place to put something down, have a drink or whatever? Can they play a game? Can they engage as a family? And then as a result, they do. They do. We just had Easter. And so I just had my whole extended family at my house,
Oh, yeah.
people playing chess, and we have a little chess table with chairs there, and there were kids, in the kitchen. We have a big banquette in the kitchen, and the dining room had people sitting and eating, and the living room had, we have 30 people around. So there's place for everyone. Everyone felt comfortable. And that's the key to design, is that, can you reach somewhere to put a drink down? Is there light, the right light there? Are you going to enjoy the space? Because I like sound too. We have those little Apple home pods. We've got them in every room. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
can put music throughout the house. I played Bad
I
Bunny because it was Easter.
Oh, sure, that's a good one.
That's so cool. I love
I'm
that.
glad you brought that up because sound to me is a big one. I come from a very musical family, and it's funny, even my kids will know my mood when they come into our home, because they always say, oh, well, she's got her smooth jazz on. She must be thinking, you know.
I love it.
Classic rock.
Love it.
Oh, he's in a good mood. And so, yeah, because that says a lot about, I even thought about having my smooth jazz on in the background of the
I
podcast
love it.
because it does. It kind of brings me to a good spot where I can be calm, listen, but also think.
Well, we're almost at the end, but I did want to come back because we didn't really discuss price enough, I feel like. So let's talk about your pricing, and let's get nailed down. What is your rate, and what do you do there?
Okay. Well, I hate to beat around the bush about this because one of the things that I'm hoping we can do from this podcast is maybe talk more about it because,
Yeah.
as I mentioned with my business, how I've rebranded as Just Jill Home, that's really just getting back to my basis where I was when I started my business. I was Just Jill.
Yeah.
And that was the name of my business.
I love
And
it.
well, thank you. Thank you. And so, but with that, I put out a soft launch of what I'm trying to let my clients and also people in the trade know about me, how I'm not really changing. I'm just putting a name to who I am. And basically, I am your home coach, and I would love to work with you. But with that being said, pricing, I would love to actually start a conversation where people from this podcast write it down.
Yeah.
Tell us what you make,
Yeah.
because May 1st, I will be coming out with mine. Whether or not anybody else tells me,
Yeah.
I'm going to keep it to myself right now.
Okay. Yeah. I would say I've been to your area. I would say that what I'm seeing now is generally around 20 years experience. It's not for the newbies, but generally around 20 years experience. It's anywhere from 250 to 300 an hour. Whether that become a flat fee rate or whether that become an hourly rate, it's pretty much equates to close to the same because you just generalize how many hours it's going to take you. We've put together some great resources on polling on how many hours generally people take. And of course, it takes longer if it's like a little bit more customizing or bespoke pieces, or there's some unique finds that the designer has to do. So that takes more time if it's more handmade than it is like order what's there, kind of situation. But so of course the hours of design can go up depending on the intricacies of the client's needs, but it gives people a general idea of what that is. And that seems to be higher, I guess, in the more competitive areas like New York and LA. I've seen anything from 450 to even like 900 an hour
Oh,
in
yeah.
some of those areas, which is crazy. But I'm also seeing designers in your roles, like your principal designers, are as they expand taking more of a creative, being creative director kind of position instead of just a designer for the
More of
firm.
a project
Because
manager.
yeah, project management, but also creative direction, so that your rate would be so high the client is okay with you having your staff work on things, because I think that's really, if they're going to get the Nile Johnson look, and Nile Johnson can't work on every little thing. Like, it would be a waste of Nile Johnson's time to do admin work or to go down to the receiver to take a picture of damage to get the return. Still, so Nile Johnson keeps his creative direction rate higher and then has people working for him at a lower at the medium firm rate, which is about, I find that's about 250 in your area for sure.
Actually, I'm glad that you said it. I'll be brass tacks here and tell you like it is on my end. With those introductory, now excuse me, everyone, I have braces, so if I slur
No
a little
worries.
bit,
I
that's
I, I
No
just did
worries.
some braces at night, so I totally get it.
But those introductory rates, I do base them off of, in Richmond, I was doing 175, 200 for those short and sweet and quick and fast rates.
Yeah, yeah.
With the 250, I'm not gonna lie, that's probably where I'm going to head, because I it's what I'm
And
worth.
I
I mean, it's what I'm
honestly
worth.
think
I
that
mean,
that's
I worth
fair
what I'm
because I
worth,
think everybody is there. I think that around your
totally.
area, that is what I'm
But
seeing
in
is the going
Richmond,
rate.
it's amazing. And I don't mean to say, I never like to speak ugly, but, everybody's looking for a good deal. Everybody is. I am too,
Yeah, I think
but
a designer is a good deal because
you
of
get what
all
you
of
pay
those
for.
things we mentioned. Like,
Yeah.
you may be paying 250 an hour, but you're getting that back when you sell that house based on all of these little the feeling that it's right. You can't put a price on that. Like, when you are eventually going to sell your home, that feeling when you walk in and it's like, oh, the space and it's an intangible. It's like, this space feels right. It feels like I want to go in that room. It feels like I can navigate this space without getting hurt. It feels like I would want to have family here. That is what you're going to end up selling if you sell your home as an investment piece, and that's what they're going to feel if they've hired an interior designer. So they're going to get every bit of that money back. I guarantee them.
And on that note, if I may say, another thing that I started doing after my short and sweet and quick and fast, going into that contract, it's more of a tiered level thing for me, where I like to, again, I've been doing it for so long, I know how much a project's gonna cost. I mean, let's just say, when you mentioned the 45,000 for a kitchen, I'm like, wow,
Yeah, right? That's what I thought.
you're
I
painting
was
the
like, what
cabinets and you're
wait,
not
what cabinetry is they
keeping
gonna are they gonna get?
yeah, keeping the appliances and whatnot. So with that being said, what I like to do is just say, based on my experience, I'm just gonna say, let's say 100,000. Let's go with that. But I know what I'm gonna put into it, what I'm gonna do, and then I can factor in my amount without really, them particularly knowing it.
But that's
I do it.
experience right there. That's experience of knowing
Yes,
how long it's gonna take you to do what you need to do, knowing what your profits should look like, and knowing how long it's gonna take you to do that
it
project.
really is,
And
and I hate to say
you can
that for the
tell.
younger
You and
designers.
Niall are both there.
Yeah, I mean, we're here and we know, and so, like, I just know what goes into things, and I'll put certain numbers aside and be like, "Okay, well, this is what this is gonna be." And don't get me wrong, I will show every bit of it, you know?
Yeah,
We have to be an open book because
yes,
they'll come back and say, "What's this? What's that?"
yeah,
And, you have to be fully transparent, but also know your worth. Know your worth
Yeah.
and take any less
yes.
because been there, done that, and once you start, people are always gonna think that's what you do.
I agree. I agree. Well, with that, thank you so much, Jill. This has been so fantastic. We loved having you on the show. And
Thank
we'll make sure that this gets everywhere and everyone follows you because you're so fantastic.
Well, thank you very much, and let's keep that talk up about those
Yes,
rates and help.
I love
Absolutely.
it.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
This episode is brought to you by Curry and Company. Designers, you know the moment. You walk into the room and the lighting stops you in your tracks. Chances are it might be Curry. Curry and Company has built its reputation on pieces that feel sculptural, collected, and timeless, from hand-finished chandeliers to statement lamps, furniture, and accessories. Their collection is top-notch. If you haven't explored their newest introductions, take a look. Visit curryandcompany.com,